the interest of Kenyans very objectively are fought for, not limited to holding rallies to discuss the plight and the issues affecting Kenyans, not limited to calling for maandamanos, regional maandamanos in every county, in every constituency, in every ward. And these maandamanos will better be imagined than experienced. And today we are here to talk about various issues. After that, we will be telling you a timetable on how we'll be moving as members of the press, because we want you to be part of us. And the first issue that we want to talk about is the issue of health. Mheshimiwa Wamuchomba has talked about the issue of fertilizers and the plight of farmers in various parts of this country. All the members of parliament here will talk about different issues. I want to talk about the issue of the health crisis. Right now, doctors are striking, and this is their 14th day into their strike. We don't want the government to relax, to let the doctors strike for over 100 days that happened between the year 2016 and 2017. There was a CBA, a collective bargain agreement, that was signed between the government and the doctors. And it entailed, number one, that the doctors be paid their arrears owned by the government. Up to now, the doctors in this country are owned some money by the government. Number two, that the interns be deployed. For the past 1 year, doctors who have trained, taken 6 years to train, and every year a doctor is trained with an average of around 600,000 Kenya shillings, which comes to around 3.6 million Kenya shillings. Then, after finishing your degree, you are not deployed anywhere. Clear on matters education that this government in itself, from the executive, is not educated. When you look at the members of the cabinet, they are not educated. Therefore, they cannot give preference to education in this country. So on matters capitation, the government is involved in a PR exercise. Look at what President Ruto has done in the last 1 year. Look at the marking of the KCPE examination. Just marking can be a problem to this government. What about releasing money? Number two, the KCSE exams. Marking of the KCSE exams was a problem. What about now? Number three, the varsity education. The government decided to increase fees such that the minimal amount of money for a social science course, an art course, is costing 300,000 Kenya shillings. Where will a Mama Mboga get that 300,000 Kenya shillings to educate their children? Up to now, as we speak, over 50,000 students haven't reported to Form 1. Up to now. But the government keeps saying that, you see, they're involved in matters education. They are not. So Ruto should not lie to us about issues of education, and we will start querying about his credentials. Because a sane president cannot employ a person who is not even qualified to be a secretary. And this is an intentional form of sabotage, because the government wants parents to pay fee using the e-citizen so that they can collect that money. Those parents are paying fees using chicken, goats, and some of them are working for those schools. How will you put a goat inside e-citizen? Exactly. You know, if the government fails to release this money, it is very simple. This team that you are seeing here, the ground team that you are seeing here, is out to sacrifice for the interest of Kenyans. We are going to put from primary school kids.
From the time of colonialism, from the fight for multipartyism, from the fight for promulgation of the new constitution, and to the fight for devolution, every generation has had a chance to rise up and do what needed to be done. We are now called upon as a generation to rise up and do what needs to be done. We fought democracy, we fought new constitution, we fought multipartyism. Now it's time for economic emancipation. This is the duty of our generation. And we are here to announce that there is a new awakening. The young, the energetic, the charismatic, the revolutionary have arisen. And it's not going to be business as usual on the streets. We are going to rise up and take up our duty, our cardinal duty, to protect and preserve the interests of the local mwananchi. On the issue of the health, it has been my proposal, even during the BBI and even the NADCO report, that we must have a health service commission Just the way we have a Teacher Service Commission, we no longer hear about teacher strike.
Disclaimer, yes, I want to give a disclaimer that I'm not Azimio, but I belong to the group of MPs that believe that the power of leaders emanate from the voters. And I come from a piece of cloth where I believe in the leadership model of that I am a trustee of the people that voted for me, and I am their delegate. So I speak their language because I am a delegate. I am a trusted delegate. So if my people in Githunguri do not want taxes, I speak for them as their delegate. I have no mandate to speak my issues that pertains my people without their permission. And that is why I've joined this group called the Ground Team. This is the team that listens to the ground, and that is why I've joined this team.
We took an oath, and one of the last lines in our oath is that there's a word there that says conscientiously discharge our duties. It means all members of parliament should use their conscience. That is why when you saw some of us opposing the finance bill, we didn't do it purely because of whether you're in Azimio or even Kenya Kwanza. It's because we used our conscience. And we can see some of the things that are happening in our country are wrong. The first issue that I want to talk about is the issue that you've seen in the medical sector. We have our doctors that are on strike, and I also want to bring another issue of NHIF. Because NHIF right now is refusing to make payments, especially in private hospitals. So we have so many people who have bills that they are unable to pay. And that means they are detained by the doctors or the hospitals. That is something that we must insist. And if the CS is unable to do that job, we'd ask her, step aside. Let somebody else take over and be able to handle that issue.
I can state categorically that we are now having a looming health crisis. And we will be supporting our doctors in this matter. If they are going to walk in the street, we are together because we are the ground street. So the Sky team has failed to listen to our doctors. Number two, the issues already we are facing, we are in lacuna state. We don't have any IEBC system in place. One constituency has gone almost a year without representation in the parliament. We are experiencing what we call constitutional crisis. We want full and immediate implementation of NANTICO report as soon as possible. The other issue of fertilizer, as you have heard and even witnessed, we have fake fertilizer. And I was shocked by one of the CS member here saying that we don't have a fake fertilizer. While our farmers are stressing it, we need that issue to be done away immediately.
There are issues that this government is so vicious about. When it comes to passing the punitive finance bill, we saw what transpired when the executive was so vicious in making sure the bill passes. But when it comes to matters of national interest to the public, like the issue of health, you can see the laxity. We cannot have a country with doctors striking 64 years after independence, when Mzee Kenyatta used to talk about eradicating disease in this country. But they are not serious even in trying to address the issue of doctors. Doctors' career is one of the most lucrative careers that the youth of this country have hope in. But if you tell us that you can train to be a doctor and be punished by this regime, you can see where we are going. And that is why we've chosen to stand up and say, we are the future of this country and will not watch it go down the drain. We are saying, as Team Ground, that the government listens to the people, listens to the youth. They have promised us jobs for the youth, affordable housing, and so much is not going the way they promised us. We are demanding that the youth of this country be given employment.